Welcome back everyone, RacerX here, and today's video is all about the Dodge Demon. And a question I've been getting an awful lot of lately is the 2018 Demon actually a better car to have than the 2023 Demon 170? Lots of stuff out there on social media about the Demon 170. Today, I will give you my thoughts on which is actually the better car to own, the better car to race, all of that good stuff. It should be a lot of fun. If you guys are brand new to the channel, don't forget, hit subscribe. That button can be found right over here. And off we go.
T-minus 15 seconds.
Check it out, guys. I am back at the Dream Giveaway Garage. Right behind me is their 2018 Dodge Demon. And I just wanted to give you a really quick reminder. I absolutely love this car, love the color scheme, as you can probably imagine. But the drawing for this actually ends in like 2 days. This is literally your last opportunity to go to Dream Giveaway's website and enter to win this Bad Daddy 2018 Dodge Demon. Back in 2018, when this car came out, it set all the NHRA records for a production car in the quarter mile. 840 horsepower on race gas, 808 horsepower on 93 octane fuel, 965 in the quarter at 140 mile an hour. Absolutely blew everybody's mind. And this is a mint condition Demon. Very, very low miles on this. It's gonna come complete with the crate as well. That is the race crate. I wish the Demon 170 actually had a crate that came with it like this. But as you can see, black and red theme. What a beautiful car. Just listen to that Demon start up. Love it. You can see 8,700 original miles. Also keep in mind, if you happen to win this car, Dream Giveaway will also give you $24,000 to pay for the taxes on the vehicle. So you're also covered there. And these guys are located in Tampa, just like I am, which means if you happen to win using my code, I will be here for the awards ceremony where you actually take delivery of the car. And as I mentioned before, I will do a dedicated video with you and your brand new Dodge Demon. It is super cool. Guys, if you have not already entered, please go enter to win 3 times the entries using my code. It is your absolute last chance to do it. I can't wait to see who wins. Truth be told, Dodge and Stellantis spent a ton of time and a ton of money developing the Demon 170. And there was a bit of a misnomer out there. A lot of people thought that they just took the Demon from 2018, threw a more powerful engine in it, threw just a couple of little upgrades on the car, and boom, came out with the car. This car was designed basically from the ground up, using the lessons learned from the 2018 car to make something really unique and special. And they only made 3,300 units, just like they did back in 2018, but they used a lot of the same parts in the 2018 Demon that they used in the regular, say, Hellcat Red Eye, versus this car has a ton of unique parts on it to actually make it stand up to 1,025 horsepower. So we'll talk all about why this car is better than the 2018 car, but there are some serious chinks in the armor that need to be discussed. Let's talk a little bit about performance when you compare the 2018 Demon to the 2023 Demon. And the 2018 Demon, an impressive feat of engineering, and it really set all the records. You heard Tim Kuniskis tell us that obviously that car was banned from NHRA competition. It was still a factory production car. 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds. They said it would run the quarter mile at a 965 at 140 mile an hour. Now, yes, I realize a lot of people had a hard time duplicating that time, and I completely get that. I had a chance to drive that car on many occasions. A very impressive car indeed. Obviously, it would perform best on a prep track, much like this Joker. Now, this one, obviously, they upped the ante quite a bit. You're talking 891 at 151 mile an hour, making this history's only factory production internal combustion car that would get into the 8s. And the 0 to 60, 1.66 seconds, making this the quickest factory production car in the world. And that's still the case right now. They'll probably come out with some other EV at some point that's even faster than this, because that's what they do. And EVs, I mean, they're just impossible to compete with. But this thing is really impressive from an engineering perspective. Yes, the 2.7 liter blower on the 2018 Demon was impressive. You're talking about 840 horsepower on race gas, whereas this, the 3-liter IHI blower on the Demon 170, obviously bigger displacement, you make 1,025 horsepower on E85. And that kind of brings up my next point. It's all about fuel on these two cars. So when you talk about The Demon of 2018, you had to put race fuel in it. Race fuel was anywhere between like $12 and $15 a gallon in most circumstances, and you would gain 32 horsepower. So 32 horsepower, basically at $15 a gallon, I just don't know. But then when you talk about the Demon 170, you can buy E85 directly from the pump. All you have to do is find an E85 station, and you go from 900 to 1,025. So you gain 125 horsepower just by going with a different fuel that you can get directly from the pump. And guess what? E85 is like 3 something a gallon versus between $12 and $15 a gallon. So a massive upgrade in terms of like what you can do for fuel on a car like this. Plus they added an inline flex fuel sensor, meaning if you're running 93 octane and you put E85 in the tank, it will adjust based on ethanol content and give you the amount of horsepower that it feels like is necessary. It's just a really neat system in the Demon 170, and they did a great job and a massive upgrade over the 2018 car. One other quick item of note, and something that a lot of people may not necessarily be aware of, is both the 2018 Demon and the 2023 Demon 170 have what is called torque reserve, meaning that it will build boost in the supercharger while you're just sitting there at the line. And the 2.7 liter supercharger on the 2018 Demon would build up to 7 PSI and then dump all of that boost directly into the engine as soon as you let off the brake or the trans brake, whichever one you happen to be using, catapulting that car forward in 2.3 seconds, 0 to 60. Very impressive. Now, the 2023 Demon with its larger 3-liter IHI will build up to 11 pounds of boost at sea level, and the exact same thing. Once you let off the brake, it dumps all of that boost in, allowing this 4,300-pound behemoth to go 20-something foot wheelies and 1.66 seconds, 0 to 60. That's how this car does it. Pretty impressive. Something else to consider, both the 2018 Demon and the 2023 Demon 170 have a pretty cool trans brake feature. Now, back in 2018, a lot of the owners found that trans brake to be pretty cumbersome. When they were running competition runs, they would find the thing would kick out on them. And there was a lot of inconsistency with that trans brake, and a lot of guys simply did not like to use it. Now, Dodge made a huge deal about it when they unveiled this car about trans brake 2.0, how much more adjustable it is, how much easier it is to use. And I will say that it is. It's almost too adjustable. You can pull out real-time torque. You can actually adjust it like every 1/10 of a second. There's a ton of adjustability in there. There's different maps you can use. And I will say I tried to dial in the trans brake on this car at the track, and it took run after run after run. So there is that piece of it. And really, when I've gotten feedback from other 170 owners, they've all basically said the same thing. When you go fast in the car, most guys are simply just using the torque reserve on a foot brake, and that seems to work and be more consistent. So while it's great to have trans brake 2.0 and have all that adjustability, most guys end up simply going right back to the foot brake just like they did back on the 2018 car. So there's that. So when you talk about which one is actually a better race car, you could make the argument that the Demon 170 is in fact better in just about every way. But when you think about actual usability and ownership of the car, things do tend to change just a little bit. Here's what I mean. If I'm being completely honest, if you talk about just user friendliness, if somebody's looking for a street/strip car, which probably 98% of people are, the 2018 car is just a little bit better. It came with its own race crate, which I absolutely loved. You could add the front seat for $1 and the rear seat for $1, and you could get the crate for $1 additional. If you want to add a full interior to your Demon 170, it's going to cost you about $3,600 for the base interior. And then, of course, it only goes up from there. So there's that piece of it. And in the crate, that is kind of what made it a little bit more user-friendly, right? They gave you front runners. They gave you an air compressor. They gave you a new PCM, a new filter. There were a number of things that came in the race crate. And, you know, for the guy who wants to roll around on the weekends and just have fun, just, you know, going to the gas station or going to a car meet, that was great. And then when they wanted to go to the track, they could take some of the things out of the crate with them, change out the front runners with the provided jack, all that good stuff, and just go to town. And that car actually came with different tires than the Demon 170 comes with. That car actually came with a Nitto NT05Rs. They're a little bit harder, but they also don't get a little bit weird in the rain, right? They're a better drag radial for the rain. So if you live a place like Florida, like I do, and you get caught in the rain, which happens all the time here because rainstorms pop up on you constantly, you're not stuck. Whereas with ET Street Rs, which is what comes on this, that is a 17-inch ET Street R Mickey Thompson, which is really great at the track, very sticky, but if you get caught in the rain, you might as well just park it, or you're probably gonna go into a ditch, which I have done in my old Hellcat with the exact same tire on it. And yeah, so a 17-inch versus an 18-inch NT05R that has little grooves cut in the tire. So if you get caught in the rain, it actually did okay. So big difference there. Something else to consider, and one wouldn't necessarily think so at first glance, being that you have more sidewall on the Demon 170 and it's a stickier compound, same with 315. But this car is way harder to hook up at the track than the 2018 car was. You're looking at almost 200 more horsepower in this, and it makes more torque up front and faster. So believe it or not, even with these big old Mickey Thompson ET Street Rs on the back, it is way harder to hook this car up. You have to have way better prep in order to have any sort of success launching this car compared to the car from 2018. And I've driven multiple 2018s. The car just hooked up better, even on the provided NT05Rs as compared to the Demon 170. This thing is a monster to try and get hooked up at the track unless the prep is absolutely ideal. Also, because of the tires, there's a big difference in the top speed of the two cars. And this created kind of a huge backlash on social media when I first put this out, if you will. When I contacted SRT and I tried to get more information on it, they confirmed the top speed of the Demon 170, despite all the teasers and what they showed us, kind of making us believe that the top speed would be about 215 miles an hour, is actually limited to 149 miles an hour. It will exceed 149, but only for a very brief amount of time, basically during the course of a 1,320-foot drag race. And then it will automatically back your car down to 149 mile an hour because of the Mickey Thompson ET Street R drag radials that are on the back of this. And that really made a lot of people upset. How can it be the baddest muscle car in the world if it's limited to 149 mile an hour when you have Hellcat red eyes that'll go 202, 203? That makes absolutely no sense. Now, there is the argument that who really cares what the top speed is? This thing is made for drag racing unless you're out there running the freeway at 175 miles an hour, which would be stupid in most people's estimation. But at the end of the day, sometimes guys just want to be able to brag. This car will go this fast. And it just sits in their garage. I don't know. That part of it, it will always be a bit of a mystery to me. But the 2018 car was limited to 168 mile an hour. Like I mentioned, the Nitto, a little bit harder compound, and it was rated a little bit faster. That tire was it's just a different animal. And then, of course, if you put the race PCM in it, it is rumored that that car would go like 211 miles an hour. So a lot of people up in arms about the top speed of the Demon 170 basically being limited to 149 miles an hour, while you've got the 2018 car that would do as much as 211 with the race PCM and still 168 in full race trim and without the race PCM in it. So it's a pretty big difference in top speed. So a lot of people up in arms about that. And now to my last thought, possibly my most important, and I certainly did not want to gloss over this. It is about reliability. And I will say the 2018 Demon, at least for the most part, proved itself to be a pretty reliable race/street platform. A lot of guys put a lot of passes on their 2018 Demons and still continue to do so with a fair amount of success. I mean, I had my Hellcat, it was a 2016. Of course, I built that to over 1,000 horsepower, stock basically everything with pulleys and E85. And that car just was so consistent. And like I said, over 1,000 horsepower would go out and just time and time and time again. And I had no issues with that car at all. Now, for those of you guys that follow my channel, you may realize this is my second engine in my Demon 170. It had to be replaced after 2,000 miles. And now we're starting to see more stuff creep up from people that are actually racing these cars. I realize only a handful of people are like myself and they're out there actually racing the cars. But we're starting to see more things pop up online. Hey, this other engine needed to be replaced. This person's having, an issue with the seal on the car. It's leaking oil. I'm starting to see a lot of people are sending me things on the Demon 170. People are starting to question the reliability of not only the engine on the 170, but just really everything about it, the drivetrain, everything on the car. I feel like they did a lot to the drivetrain to beef this up. I haven't really heard of much going on with the transmission of the car. I haven't heard about people popping axles or drive shafts. It could happen. That doesn't mean it hasn't happened. I just haven't heard of it. but people by and large seem to be having some issues with their Demon 170s at a more frequent rate than people were having issues with the 2018 car. And like I said, there were still issues with the 2018 cars. Like I said, the dips were popping on some of them, but I think by and large the engines, they were pretty solid. A lot of people are questioning if Dodge didn't push this engine a little too hard. We know when they were doing all their R&D on this thing, they were blowing up engines. They admitted that that was happening. And then they would, they would blow it up. They would add more robust components to the engine, and then it would be something else that would give out. And that's part of just making something stronger. When you're making 1,025 horsepower, you're putting the kind of torque out that this thing does, the instant torque, way more so than the 2018 car, stuff will happen. But I think everybody is sort of questioning if this car is reliable for the future. If you're out there really racing it, is it going to blow up on you? A little bit of question in my mind there as well. I have inquiries out with Stellantis. There will be a new video coming very soon, guys, hopefully within the next week, about their answers about not only what happened to my car, but maybe some things that other Demon 170 owners can do, because the 170 supplement that they gave you when you bought this car was really vague on a lot of different subjects. So I asked a lot of hard questions, and I'm hoping that the engineers will get back to me so I can spread the word, not only about, hey, this happened to my engine because XYZ, but maybe just give you guys some additional information on what you can do to keep your 170 safe and happy. And I don't want people to be scared to race the car, because that's what this car was engineered to do. That's why I bought it. You guys know me, I am a drag racer. I love this car, I absolutely love it. But there are some questions about reliability, way more so than in the 2018 car. That is looming over the head of a lot of 170 owners right now. So I realize I've given you guys a lot to digest, and there's no right or wrong. The 2018 car is absolutely phenomenal. When you compare it just on paper, the 170 really is better in just about every way. But then there's some intangible things, like I mentioned, that might make the 2018 car a more user-friendly street/strip car for the vast majority of owners out there. So you really kind of have to look at what your goals are for the car. Is it going to be just a weekend warrior type car? Are you going to be out there racing the car? What did you really want to do with it? And because both cars will do it. Like I said, there are just a few drawbacks from a street perspective on this car. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, which car would you rather have, the 2018 Demon or the 2023 Demon 170? I would love to hear it in the comments down below. I'll catch you on the next one. So until then, RacerX.